I tried creating an AI that can modify reality. The results initially looked... But hey, at the end it actually ended up looking quite well. And in this video I'll show you exactly how I built it. Let's go. So you know how I can go to ChatGPT and tell him, hey, replace the cat in this image with a frog or something? ChatGPT does this in 2 steps actually. First, it loads a model that finds where the cat is. Then it loads a model that starts modifying it. The first stage is divided into 2 steps. First, we put a boundary box around the object of interest. But the question is, how can I actually generate this boundary boxes? Like in ChatGPT, I just tell him, replace the cat. How does it know how to put a box around the cat? Well, you may think it may use YOLO or something like this, but that's not true, because human text is extremely unpredictable. Like, what if I said the brown cat or the black cat or the remote controller? It's really impossible to create a model that can predict all those classes. So we actually need a model that can work with infinite amount of classes. That's why we use owl vision transformer. This model actually can work without any training. How it works is that you feed it the image and the text. The text goes through a text transformer encoder, which converts it to some sort of number. The image itself goes through a vision transformer encoder and is divided into multiple cells, or we call them batches. And each batch of them is also embedded into a number as well. So this is for background, got a 0.1. This is for remote controller, got a 0.2. This is for the cat bars, got a 0.4. Then we compare those numbers to the original number we got from our text. And finally, we end up with the correct batches containing a cat. As you can see, we didn't train this model specifically on what a cat is. Instead, we just fed it the generic word of being a cat. We call this a zero-shot algorithm, as it doesn't require any training. After that, we feed it to SAM, segment anything model, which just segments the objects inside the boundary box. So now that we know where our objects are, we are ready for stage 2, actually modifying them. So the most popular inpainting model is the Stable Diffusion. Stable Diffusion version 1.5 is what I'm using. So I just try to do it on my image. I have segmented my face here. The prompt is just hyper-realistic vampire, thing, evil, sharp eyes, red fangs, whatever. And the results were a bit questionable. This one, he barely did anything. Poor kitty. This one, I think, ended up looking a bit weirder because inference steps was just 6. So let me increase it. Yeah, slightly better. And actually, to produce those different results, I'm just playing around with those 3 parameters. And to understand why they affect my output that much, we need to understand how diffusers work. How diffuser model works is that I have my image here, I apply the mask to it, and I add some noise to this masked area. We add the noise with specific strings. So if I have no noise, this means strings was at 0. If I have some noise, this means strings at, well, 0.5 or something. If the entire face was scrapped, then that's a string of 1, basically. And here is the interesting part. We literally destroyed our face, so the diffuser model can be created, but this time following the prompt we gave it, which is being a vampire. And it doesn't do this in an instant jump. No, it does this more of a gradual manner. So say I want to do it in 5 steps. So at step 1, I will remove some of the noise, not all of it, just a little part of it, and I'm trying to follow my prompt of being a vampire. So step 2, remove more noise. Step 3, more noise. Step 4, more noise, remove. And step 5, finally, no more noise remaining. So like, we changed our shape in 5 total steps, and since we started with 100% noise, the model had all the freedom he wanted to change the face entirely. But if the model started with an image like this one, he barely has any room to modify anything. And the interesting part is that I am the one who is choosing how many steps I want the model to take. So here I choose 5, but I can actually choose 3 directly. So from here to here to here directly. But here is the thing. If you made it in those direct leaps, the model barely have any time to modify anything. As you can see, he missed out like white eyes or having fangs and such, but he can't like recreate them since he didn't account for them in the first step. So that's why when I increased the step size to 16 in this image, it actually started looking more like a vampire, having the white eyes, the fangs, and all of that. The model simply had all the time it needs to account for all of those details. This diffuser model usually works best with 20 or 40 step sizes, but obviously running the model 40 times just to create a single image for a single user is computationally unaccepted. Thankfully, Turbo fixed this issue. So Turbo is like student-teacher style, where we have the teacher being the full-size diffusion model that takes like 40 steps or whatever to produce the results, and the student, the Turbo model, is learning how to produce results similar to the teacher in way less steps. So if the diffusion model takes about 40 steps, Turbo learns how to generate this in just 4 steps maximum or something. AI is done. Now let's enslave ChatGPT to make the UI for us. And yeah, that's the AI. If you like the video, please like, subscribe. Next week, I'm uploading this video of a little car I made that steals wallets, so make sure to like, subscribe to not miss it out.